What if I told you that in just 90 days, your entire life could look different? Not years. Not some distant future you keep pushing off. Just 90 days, 3 months. The time will pass anyway, whether you change or not. The question is, will you let it pass by stuck in the same patterns, or will you finally choose yourself and step into the person you know you're meant to become? Right now, you might feel trapped. Maybe it's in your routine, maybe it's in your thoughts, or maybe it's in the weight of what you keep telling yourself you can't do. Every day feels the same. You wake up with good intentions, but by the end of the day, you're drained, disappointed, and stuck in the same loop. Deep down, you know you're capable of more. You know there's a stronger, sharper, more disciplined version of you waiting to be unleashed. And the truth is, that version is not out of reach. It doesn't take a lifetime to find them. It takes a decision, made today, carried through with discipline for 90 days straight. Think about this. 90 days ago, you were living a life that feels almost identical to today. The only difference is you wasted time believing the lie that change takes forever. But imagine if you had committed back then. Imagine if you had taken those 90 days and poured everything into yourself. Where would you be now? How much stronger, more confident, more alive would you feel? That regret you sense in your chest right now, that's proof that your potential has been waiting for you all along. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. There's only now. And now is powerful because it's the only time you truly own. 90 days is not a gimmick. It's a window of time proven by psychology and human behavior. The human brain is wired to adapt, to rewire, and to build habits in a matter of weeks. Commit for 90 days, and your body, your mind, your identity will shift. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's the science of consistency. The best part? You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You don't need to have it all figured out. You only need to focus on yourself with ruthless commitment. Every day, for 90 days, you pour energy into becoming the person you've always wanted to be. Small steps compound, choices stack, wins build momentum, and that momentum becomes unstoppable. This is why you need to listen closely and stay with me. Because what I'm about to share with you can flip the script on everything you believe about yourself. You've doubted for too long. You've hesitated for too long. You've put others' needs above your own for too long. But if you give me your focus right now, if you stay with me through this message, I promise you will walk away with a blueprint that can change everything in your life. Your confidence, your discipline, your relationships, your future. 90 days is not just a number. It is the difference between the life you're living and the life you crave. It's your chance to stop dreaming and start becoming. And it begins the moment you choose to stop waiting and start acting. So stay with me, because your 90-day transformation starts today. Change begins the moment you decide to take ownership of your life. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, right now. The truth is, waiting for motivation to strike is the biggest trap you've been caught in. Motivation is a spark, but it fades. What builds real transformation is commitment, discipline, the decision to show up even when you don't feel like it. And once you lock into that mindset, 90 days becomes enough time to rebuild yourself from the inside out. Think about how much energy you waste doubting yourself, overthinking, scrolling, comparing your life to others. That energy could be building you instead of draining you. You've been feeding fear, hesitation, and excuses, and those things grow stronger every time you give them attention. But the moment you redirect that same energy inward, you take back control. Every doubt, every excuse, every fear loses power the second you decide to stop serving it. Your mind is not your enemy, but it has been programmed by repetition. The thoughts you feed daily shape your identity. When you tell yourself you're tired, lazy, unworthy, or incapable, your brain accepts it as truth. It begins to design your actions around those beliefs. That is why you feel stuck, because your mind is stuck in a loop you've been replaying for years. But the science of neuroplasticity proves you can rewire it. New thoughts, repeated with conviction, backed by action, create new patterns. In 90 days, you can reprogram your brain to see yourself as disciplined, strong, and unstoppable. Imagine waking up and no longer battling with the thought of giving up. Imagine looking at yourself in the mirror and recognizing someone who refuses to settle. That shift doesn't happen by accident. It happens by choosing a standard and holding yourself accountable every single day. It happens by replacing I can't with I will, not once, not twice, but over and over until it becomes your default. This is why 90 days matters. It is long enough to build new habits, but short enough to see the finish line and push through. You have to understand something important. Your life will always reflect the standards you accept. If you accept average, you live average. If you accept excuses, your life becomes an endless cycle of missed chances. But the moment you raise your standard, when you say, "I will no longer tolerate anything less than growth, progress, and strength," everything shifts. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop waiting for external permission. You stop living for others and start living for yourself. This isn't selfish. This is survival. This is building the foundation that allows you to give your best to the world. Because if you are broken inside, if you're drained, lost, and unfulfilled, what can you truly give to anyone else? Focusing on yourself is the most powerful act of love you can commit to. It's choosing to rise so you can lift others with you. It's refusing to waste your one life trapped in patterns that steal your potential. So hear this clearly. You already have everything you need to change. You don't need to wait for a miracle, a sign, or someone to come save you. The power has always been inside you. The only question is whether you will finally unleash it. 90 days is not a lifetime, but it is enough to prove to yourself that you are stronger than your fears, greater than your excuses, and capable of more than you ever imagined. Your new life begins when you decide that the old one is no longer acceptable. The first battle you must win is with yourself, not with your circumstances, not with other people, not with the world. The fight is internal. It's between the voice that wants you to grow and the voice that wants you to stay the same. Every day that battle plays out in your mind. And every day, the voice you feed grows stronger. For too long, you've given power to the voice of doubt, the one that whispers, "Stay comfortable, stay safe, stay small." But inside you, there's another voice, the one that refuses to accept mediocrity, the one that knows you were meant for more. That is the voice you must strengthen, until it drowns out every excuse. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it destroys your future. The very things you run from, discomfort, challenge, struggle, are the exact things that shape you into someone unstoppable. Growth never happens inside comfort. Growth happens when you're stretched, when you're tested, when you do the thing you least want to do. If you spend your life avoiding discomfort, you'll spend your life avoiding growth. 90 days of choosing growth over comfort will break the chains that have held you back for years. Think about the power of daily choices. One workout, 1 hour of focus, one disciplined decision may seem small, but small choices compound. Each one builds on the last, stacking into a structure so powerful it transforms your entire identity. The problem is, most people underestimate the power of consistency. They look for quick results and give up when they don't see them instantly. But transformation is like planting seeds. For weeks, nothing seems to happen. Beneath the surface, though, roots are forming, foundations are being laid, and then one day, growth bursts through where you once saw nothing. That's what 90 days of relentless commitment creates, visible transformation rooted in invisible discipline. You cannot keep living life reacting to your emotions. If you only act when you feel motivated, you will fail. Feelings are fleeting. Some days you will wake up tired, unmotivated, heavy with doubt. Those days are the test. Those days are where real strength is built. Discipline means doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. It's standing up when you want to lie down. It's moving forward when every part of you screams to quit. And when you conquer yourself on those days, you unlock a level of confidence that nothing else can give you. Your identity is not fixed. You are not doomed to be who you were yesterday. Identity is shaped by habits, by repeated actions, by the standards you enforce daily. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. Stack enough votes, and your identity shifts. You stop pretending to be strong and start becoming strong. You stop wishing for confidence and start living with it. In 90 days, through discipline and repeated choices, you can literally reintroduce yourself to the world as a new person. So stop underestimating yourself. Stop believing that change is reserved for others. The same blood runs through your veins as every person who has ever transformed their life. The only difference is commitment. The only difference is refusing to give up when it gets hard. The battle is not out there, it is inside you. And when you decide that nothing within you will hold you back any longer, you become unstoppable. 90 days of winning the war within is all it takes to unleash the version of you that has been waiting to rise. You have to understand that your environment is shaping you every single day. The people you surround yourself with, the places you spend your time, the habits you repeat without thinking. These forces are either building your future or burying it. If you stay around negativity, you absorb it. If you keep company with people who settle, you begin to settle too. If you live in a space filled with distraction and clutter, your mind mirrors that chaos. Transformation requires more than just inner strength. It requires creating an environment that supports the person you want to become. For 90 days, you must design your surroundings with intention. Remove what pulls you backward. Protect your space like your life depends on it, because it does. You can't rise while constantly drowning in the noise of people who don't believe in change. You can't sharpen your focus while living in constant distraction. Every external influence is either fueling your growth or stealing it, and you can no longer afford to be careless with your energy. Energy is the most valuable currency you own. How you spend it determines the quality of your life. If you waste it on arguments, meaningless distractions, and toxic relationships, you'll always feel drained, no matter how much you try to push forward. But when you direct it toward your goals, your growth, your discipline, it multiplies. Momentum builds. Your energy expands because it's no longer being scattered. It's being concentrated. That's when breakthroughs happen. That's when 90 days changes everything. This is why focus is your greatest weapon. The human brain is capable of extraordinary transformation, but it cannot thrive under constant chaos. It needs direction. It needs clarity. When you eliminate what doesn't matter, you give your mind permission to lock in on what does. For 90 days, imagine what would happen if you gave your full focus to your growth. Imagine cutting out every distraction, every excuse, and channeling all your energy into building the strongest, most disciplined version of yourself. The results would shock you. You must be willing to let go of what no longer serves you. Let go of the friendships that keep you stagnant. Let go of the habits that numb your potential. Let go of the belief that you have to carry everything and everyone with you. Growth is not about holding on. It's about rising, and sometimes that means walking alone for a while. But understand this: when you choose yourself, when you elevate your standards, the right people will find you. The ones who value growth, strength, and vision will align with you naturally. Your energy will attract them. The truth is, discipline thrives in the right environment. If your surroundings tempt you back into old habits, no amount of willpower will save you. That's why you must become ruthless with what you allow into your life. This is not about being cold or selfish. It's about survival. It's about protecting the seed of transformation you are planting, so it has the chance to grow strong. So ask yourself, what around you is silently holding you back? What distractions, what voices, what habits are stealing your energy? And more importantly, what would happen if for 90 days you remove them? That's when you stop fighting uphill battles and start building momentum that carries you forward. The right environment will not do the work for you, but it will make every step you take more powerful. And when your energy is aligned, your environment is clean, and your focus is sharp, nothing can stand in your way. Change does not come from inspiration alone. It comes from structure. Without a clear system, even the strongest desire fades. Your brain thrives on order, and when you give it direction, it rewards you with clarity and momentum. For 90 days, you must create a framework that supports your transformation. This isn't about doing everything at once. It's about building a daily rhythm that aligns with the person you want to become. Because success is not a single event. It is a series of decisions repeated with consistency until they become your new normal. Think about how much of your life right now is lived on autopilot. You wake, you drift, you react, and before you know it, another day is gone. That cycle is exactly what keeps you trapped. But the moment you introduce intentional routines, the game changes. Routines turn chaos into clarity. They remove hesitation and replace it with momentum. When you know what your morning looks like, when you know how you will move your body, fuel your mind, and protect your focus, you no longer depend on feelings to carry you forward. You simply act, and action compounds. The science is undeniable. Habits built through repetition shape the pathways of your brain. Each time you repeat a habit, the connection strengthens until it becomes second nature. That means every disciplined choice you make is not just an isolated action. It is a vote for the identity you are building. 90 days of consistent repetition for even a few key habits can create permanent change in the way you think, act, and feel. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. Miss a day and you keep going. Stumble and you rise faster. Because the power lies not in never failing, but in refusing to stay down. But here's the truth you cannot ignore. Structure without intention is just busyness. You can fill your life with activity and still remain empty if your actions are not aligned with your vision. That is why you must be deliberate about the habits you choose to build. They must serve the life you want, not distract you from it. 90 days of the right actions will bring you closer to your highest potential than years of unfocused effort. And the right actions are simple. Feed your mind with strength, move your body with discipline, protect your energy with boundaries, and end each day knowing you pushed yourself further than you thought possible. Every single person who has ever transformed their life did it through daily repetition. They didn't wait for miracles. They didn't depend on luck. They built systems that carried them through the days when willpower was weak. And if they could do it, so can you. The only difference between you and the person you want to become is the habits you repeat. Build them with intention, repeat them with discipline, and 90 days from now, your life will not look the same. So stop drifting. Stop living by chance. Structure is freedom. Routines are power. Habits are identity. When you decide to design your days with intention, you take command of your future. And when your future is built one powerful choice at a time, there is nothing you cannot become. 90 days of structure is not just a practice, it is the foundation of your transformation. Discipline will give you structure, but belief will give you fuel. If you don't believe change is possible, you'll sabotage yourself before you even begin. Your mind has been conditioned by years of repeated doubts, failures, and excuses. It whispers that you'll quit again, that you're not strong enough, that nothing will work for you. And the danger of these thoughts is that they disguise themselves as truth. But they are not truth. They are just old patterns, echoes of a past version of you that no longer deserves to lead your life. The human brain is wired to protect you from pain, and that's why it resists change. Change feels like risk, and risk feels like danger. But what your brain calls danger is often the very thing you need most. If you listen to fear, you'll stay safe, but you'll also stay small. Growth requires you to believe in a reality that you cannot yet see. It demands that you put faith in the version of yourself that doesn't exist yet, and then work every day until that version is real. This is why self-belief is not optional, it is essential. Belief is the anchor you hold on to when discipline feels heavy. Belief is the fire that keeps you moving when results aren't visible yet. Without it, every obstacle looks permanent. With it, every obstacle becomes temporary. For 90 days, you must guard your belief like treasure. You must feed it with affirmations, with progress, with action. Because belief grows when it is proven, and every small win you create becomes evidence that you are capable of more. Stop telling yourself the story of failure. Stop rehearsing the reasons why you can't. Every time you repeat those words, you reinforce the identity of someone who is stuck. Begin telling yourself a new story, the story of someone who refuses to quit, someone who is unstoppable, someone who is willing to rise no matter how many times they fall. Your mind listens to the language you use, and it becomes the reality you live. Speak strength into yourself daily, not because it feels easy, but because it creates the foundation of who you are becoming. Belief is not about ignoring reality, it's about choosing which reality to build. You can focus on your limitations, or you can focus on your potential. You can cling to the mistakes of the past, or you can commit to the possibilities of the future. Both exist, but only one will carry you forward. The belief you choose to nurture will decide the quality of your 90 days. Every great transformation begins with a decision, the decision to back yourself, even when no one else does. People may doubt you, criticize you, or underestimate you. That doesn't matter. Their belief is irrelevant. What matters is that when you look in the mirror, you see someone worth fighting for, someone who refuses to give up, someone who deserves a better life and is willing to pay the price to create it. For 90 days, let your belief be unshakable. Protect it, feed it, guard it from negativity. And as your belief grows, so will your strength, your focus, your results. Because once you believe in yourself fully, you stop chasing change, you embody it. And when that happens, transformation is no longer a possibility. It becomes inevitable. Belief fuels the fire, but action is what turns belief into reality. Without action, belief is just hope, and hope without movement changes nothing. The difference between the life you want and the life you have right now is not luck, it's not timing, it's not circumstance, it's action. Every single thing you desire is on the other side of consistent action. And for 90 days you must train yourself to act, before hesitation has the chance to kill your momentum. Hesitation is the silent killer of dreams. You feel inspired, you feel ready, and then you wait, you think, You doubt, you delay, and in that gap between intention and execution, fear slips in and takes control. That hesitation is why days pass without progress, why weeks blur together, why years vanish while you remain in the same place. The cure is immediate action. The moment you decide, you move. No second guessing, no overthinking, you take the step. Because action not only builds results, it builds identity. Every time you act, you reinforce the truth that you are someone who follows through. Momentum is born the moment you act without delay. And momentum is the most powerful force you can create. Once you're in motion, everything becomes easier. A workout leads to energy. Energy leads to focus. Focus leads to progress. Progress fuels belief. And belief fuels more action. The cycle becomes self-sustaining, but only if you're willing to break through the first barrier of resistance. That first step is the hardest because it breaks the inertia of your old self. But once you break it, the new self begins to rise. Action is also how you silence doubt. You can't think your way into confidence. You act your way into it. Every time you do the thing you were afraid of, the fear shrinks. Every time you follow through when you wanted to quit, the doubt loses power. Fear cannot survive repeated exposure to action. Doubt cannot survive repeated evidence of progress. And when you show up daily for 90 days, fear and doubt are replaced by strength and certainty. Understand this clearly. Action does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be consistent. Waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect conditions is just another disguise for fear. There will never be a perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one you create by acting now. Even small actions, repeated daily, compound into massive change. A single page read, a single workout completed, a single disciplined choice. It all stacks, and over 90 days the stack becomes unshakable. This is why action is the foundation of transformation. Without it, belief dies. Without it, discipline fades. Without it, 90 days passes and nothing changes. But with it, even the smallest daily effort becomes a seed of change. The seeds multiply, the roots grow deep, and eventually the results become impossible to ignore. That is when your life begins to reflect the power of your choices. So do not wait. Do not hesitate. Do not let another day pass while the life you want drifts further away. Act now. Act with courage. Act with consistency. Because action is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. And 90 days of relentless action is enough to cross that bridge and never look back. Action alone will move you forward, but reflection will make sure you're moving in the right direction. Too many people grind endlessly without ever pausing to measure who they are becoming. They confuse motion with progress, and years later they realize they've been running in circles. Transformation demands both relentless effort and honest evaluation. Every step you take must be aligned to the life you are building, not the life you are escaping. That's why the next 90 days cannot be lived blindly. You must watch yourself closely, measure your progress, and hold yourself accountable to the vision you've set. Accountability is the mirror that shows you the truth. It strips away excuses and forces you to confront whether your actions match your intentions. Most people avoid accountability because it feels uncomfortable, but that discomfort is exactly what creates growth. When you face yourself honestly, you give yourself the opportunity to course correct, to improve, to sharpen your focus. Without accountability, you drift. With it, you rise. Your brain thrives on feedback. It craves evidence of progress. When you track your actions, your wins, your setbacks, you give your mind the proof it needs to believe in the new identity you are building. That belief fuels motivation, and motivation fuels more action. The cycle grows stronger each day you hold yourself accountable. But accountability is not just about celebrating wins. It's also about exposing weaknesses. And that exposure is not failure. It is freedom. Because once you see what's holding you back, you can destroy it. Time you write down your actions, reflect on your choices, or measure your progress, you are telling your subconscious, this matters, I matter, my growth matters. That reinforcement is powerful. It transforms your goals from vague wishes into concrete commitments. And when your goals become commitments, you no longer approach them casually. You approach them with urgency, with seriousness, with unshakable intent. But accountability goes deeper than checking boxes or tracking habits. It's about raising your standards so high that you refuse to accept anything less than progress. It's about looking yourself in the eye and asking, did I give everything today? Did I move closer to the person I want to be? If the answer is no, you don't hide from it. You adjust, you correct. You demand more of yourself tomorrow. That is how growth compounds, not through perfection, but through consistent correction and relentless honesty. This is why so many people quit before change arrives. They avoid accountability, so they never see their own progress, and without visible proof, their belief dies. But you are not like them. You will measure, you will track, you will hold yourself to a higher standard because you refuse to waste 90 days on half-effort. You will not let the old patterns of avoidance rob you again. When you commit to accountability, you take full control of your transformation. No more blaming circumstances, no more waiting for luck, no more hiding behind excuses. You become the cause, not the effect. You decide, you act, you evaluate, you grow. That is the cycle of unstoppable progress. And when 90 days of action is fueled by 90 days of reflection and accountability, the change you create will not fade. It will root itself deep inside you, shaping not only your habits, but your identity. You will not just live differently, you will be different. And that difference will last far beyond 90 days. Accountability sharpens your path, but resilience keeps you on it. No matter how much belief you build, no matter how much structure you create, life will test you. Distractions will come. Setbacks will strike. Some days will feel heavy, and you will want to quit. This is not a sign that you are failing. It is proof that you are transforming. Every great change demands resistance, and how you respond to that resistance will decide whether you rise or collapse. Resilience is not about avoiding pain. It is about facing it without breaking. It is about understanding that failure is not the end, but part of the process. When you stumble, when you slip, when you fall, resilience is the voice inside that says, get up, keep moving. This does not end here. Without resilience, 90 days becomes impossible. With it, 90 days becomes unstoppable. You must train yourself to see obstacles differently. Most people see setbacks as proof they should stop. They see resistance as a sign they're not ready. But the truth is, resistance is the training ground of strength. Every obstacle is shaping you. Every struggle is forging resilience. The days you want to quit are the days that build the deepest transformation, because they prove you can endure when your old self would have surrendered. The science of growth is clear. Stress and struggle, when embraced, build resilience and capacity. Muscles grow by tearing and repairing. Minds grow by stretching beyond what feels possible. Identity grows by pushing through resistance until what once felt impossible becomes routine. For 90 days you will be tested, but every test is an opportunity to harden your will, to deepen your strength, to prove to yourself that nothing can stop you. Understand this: setbacks are not failures. Quitting is failure. Stopping is failure. But as long as you rise after every fall, you are still winning. Progress is not linear. Some days will feel like you're moving backward. Some weeks may feel slower than you want. That is normal. That is necessary. Because growth happens in cycles, and resilience is what carries you through the valleys until you rise to the peaks. Resilience is built through choice. Every time you decide to keep going, you are building a reserve of strength you can draw from later, and when those reserves grow deep, you become unshakable. Nothing external can destroy you, because your will has been forged by fire. That is why resilience is not just a skill, it is a weapon. It is the shield that protects your progress, the force that ensures 90 days of effort does not collapse at the first sign of struggle. You have to decide now that quitting is no longer an option. Decide that when pain comes, you will push harder. Decide that when distractions come, you will return stronger. Decide that when doubt creeps in, you will silence it with action. Because once you commit to resilience, nothing can derail you. The storms will come, but you will not be moved. The obstacles will rise, but you will not be stopped. And when you complete 90 days with resilience, you will not only see external change, you will feel an unshakable internal shift. You will know that nothing outside you has power greater than what's inside you. And from that point forward, no challenge, no setback, no failure will ever break you again. Resilience makes you unshakable, but clarity gives your strength direction. Without clarity, even the strongest effort is scattered, wasted on things that do not matter. You can push, you can grind, you can endure, but if you do not know where you are going, you will wake up 90 days later still lost. Transformation is not just about working harder. It is about working with purpose. It is about knowing exactly who you want to become and aligning every action with that vision. Clarity begins with asking yourself the hardest questions. Who do you want to be 90 days from now? What does that version of you look like, sound like, live like? How do they think? How do they move? How do they show up every single day? When you see that vision clearly, you give your mind something powerful to pursue. The brain is goal-driven. It needs a target. Without a target, it wanders. But with a clear target, it organizes your thoughts, your energy, and your focus around hitting it. That is how clarity turns effort into transformation. Most people drift through life because they never define what they actually want. They say they want change, but they cannot describe it. They say they want success, but they cannot define it. And without definition, they live in confusion, chasing everything but catching nothing. You must refuse to live like that. You must define your future so vividly that you can feel it in your bones. And once you do, you must commit to it fully, without hesitation, without compromise. When your vision is clear, your decisions become simple. Every choice either aligns with your future or pulls you away from it. Clarity eliminates the noise. It silences distractions. It forces you to ask, does this move me closer to who I want to be? If the answer is no, you cut it off. If the answer is yes, you double down. That's how 90 days of clarity becomes a straight line to transformation, instead of a cycle of wasted effort. Clarity also ignites motivation on the days discipline feels heavy. When you wake up tired, when the struggle feels endless, clarity reminds you why you started. It reminds you that you're not just working for today. You're working for the future you refuse to live without, and that vision pulls you through when nothing else can. But clarity is not about perfection. Your vision may evolve. Your goals may sharpen as you move forward. That's not weakness, that's growth. What matters is that you start with a direction and commit to it fully. The path may shift, but the destination remains the same, becoming the strongest, most disciplined, most alive version of yourself. So write it down. Speak it out loud. Burn it into your mind until it feels real. Your vision is not a dream, it is a decision. And once you decide clearly who you will become, you remove every excuse that stands in the way. 90 days from now, you will either be living that vision or regretting that you never defined it. The choice is yours. Clarity is the light that cuts through the darkness. With it, you cannot be stopped. Without it, you will remain lost. Decide now to see your future clearly, and then give everything to make it real. Clarity gives you vision, but energy gives you the power to bring that vision to life. Without energy, even the strongest belief, the sharpest plan, and the clearest vision collapse under fatigue. Energy is the fuel of transformation, and if you want to change your life in 90 days, you must take ownership of how you generate, protect, and direct it. Because the truth is, most people are not failing because they lack discipline or talent. They are failing because they are exhausted, drained by habits and environments that rob them of vitality before they even begin. Your body is not separate from your mind. The state of your body dictates the state of your focus, your drive, and your emotions. When you feed yourself poorly, when you neglect movement, when you sacrifice rest, you sabotage your transformation before it has a chance to grow. Discipline thrives in a body that is energized. Belief thrives in a mind that is sharp. Focus thrives in a system that is rested and ready. For 90 days, you must treat your energy as sacred. Protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. Energy is built through rhythm. The way you start your morning sets the tone for your entire day. A strong morning routine is not just habit, it is declaration. It tells your body, your mind, your spirit that you are in command. Moving your body early, fueling yourself with intention, speaking strength into your mind. These choices create energy that carries into everything else you do. Momentum starts with energy, and energy starts with the choices you make in the first hours of your day. But it doesn't end there. You must also protect your energy from leaks throughout the day. Every distraction, every toxic conversation, every mindless indulgence drains you. These leaks seem small, but over time they leave you empty. The most powerful people in the world are not those who work the hardest, they are those who protect their energy the most fiercely. They know that every bit of energy wasted on negativity is energy stolen from their vision, and so must you. Regeneration is just as important as effort. Pushing without rest is not strength, it is self-destruction. Your body and mind need recovery to grow stronger. Sleep is not weakness, it is strategy. Rest is not laziness, it is fuel. When you neglect recovery, you sabotage consistency. When you honor it, you extend your power. 90 days of high energy does not mean 90 days of burnout, it means 90 days of balance. of giving everything to your growth, while also giving your body what it needs to sustain the fight. When you master your energy, everything changes. Discipline feels lighter, focus sharpens, resilience grows stronger, clarity becomes easier to maintain. You stop dragging yourself through each day and start charging into it with power. And when your energy is aligned with your vision, you become unstoppable. Ask yourself this: what habits are draining your energy right now? What foods, what routines, what distractions are keeping you weak? And more importantly, what would your life look like if you committed for 90 days to maximizing your energy instead of wasting it? The answer is simple. You would transform not only faster, but deeper, because energy is the foundation of change, and when your energy is unstoppable, so are you. Energy fuels your body, but focus directs it. Without focus, even the strongest energy scatters into 1,000 directions and produces nothing lasting. Focus is the weapon that turns effort into achievement. It is the ability to say yes to what matters and no to what does not. It is the discipline of keeping your eyes fixed on the vision you created, even when distractions scream for your attention. Focus is not something you stumble into. It is something you build, one choice at a time. Every day, the world pulls at you. Notifications, obligations, temptations, noise. Each one of them fights to steal a piece of your attention, and if you let them, they will fracture your mind and weaken your progress. The average person lives in constant distraction, chasing 100 little things but finishing nothing. That is why their lives never change. But you are not average. You are choosing transformation. And transformation demands focus so sharp that nothing can shake it. Focus starts with environment. You cannot expect to stay committed if your surroundings are designed to pull you away. Look around you. Does your environment support your vision, or does it sabotage it? Every cluttered space, every tempting distraction, every unnecessary trigger. These are obstacles you must eliminate. Build an environment that makes focus the default, not the exception. When your space is clear, your mind becomes clear. When your environment supports your goals, staying disciplined feels natural. Focus also requires priorities. You cannot give yourself to everything and expect results. You must decide what truly matters in the next 90 days and cut away what does not. That decision will hurt. It will mean sacrificing comfort, entertainment, even people who drain you. But sacrifice is the price of focus, and focus is the price of transformation. Every great achievement in history came from someone willing to narrow their attention until all of their power pointed in one direction. You have that same ability. The science is undeniable. The human brain is wired for single tasking. When you split your attention, you weaken your performance. When you give yourself fully to one task, your efficiency, creativity, and power multiply. This is why focus is a superpower in a distracted world. While others are drowning in noise, you will be building a future. While others scatter their time, you will be sharpening yours. 90 days of focused action will create more change than years of scattered effort. But focus is not only about what you cut out, it is also about what you reinforce. You must remind yourself daily of your vision. Keep it front and center in your mind. Write it down. Speak it out. See it when you wake. See it before you sleep. Focus thrives on repetition. The more you return your mind to what matters, the stronger your focus becomes. And as focus strengthens, distractions lose their power over you. Imagine what will happen when your energy is strong and your focus is unbreakable. Imagine 90 days where every action points directly toward your transformation. That kind of alignment creates results that shock the world. But more importantly, it creates a version of you that refuses to be ordinary. Focus is not just about completing tasks. It is about becoming unstoppable. When you master your focus, your 90 days become the foundation of a life you never thought possible. Focus gives direction, but consistency makes progress inevitable. Without consistency, all the clarity, all the energy, and all the focus in the world collapse into wasted potential. Transformation is never built in a single moment of inspiration. It is built in the repetition of small actions carried out day after day, long after the initial excitement fades. 90 days is not about intensity for a week and then collapse. It is about building a rhythm so steady, so unshakable, that change becomes a natural consequence. Consistency is what separates the dreamers from the achievers. Anyone can start, anyone can feel motivated for a short burst of time, but very few continue when it becomes uncomfortable, when it becomes boring, when it becomes hard. The truth is, consistency is not glamorous. It is often quiet, it is often unseen, It is doing the right thing when no one is watching. It is refusing to negotiate with excuses. It is choosing discipline over mood, action over delay, progress over perfection. Psychology shows us that habits are built not by occasional effort, but by repeated behavior until it becomes automatic. At first, change feels heavy. It feels unnatural. But as you repeat it, your brain rewires. Your actions turn into patterns, your patterns turn into habits, and your habits turn into identity. Consistency is not about forcing yourself forever. It is about training your mind and body until the action becomes who you are. 90 days of consistent action can permanently rewire the way you live. Consistency is also about resilience. You will not be perfect. You will stumble. You will face days when you fail to show up fully. But consistency is not destroyed by failure. It is destroyed by quitting. Missing once is human. Refusing to get back up is surrender. What matters is not that you fall, but that you rise faster each time. Consistency is measured not by flawless execution, but by relentless return. The ones who win are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who never stay down. Discipline and consistency are deeply connected, but they are not the same. Discipline gets you started. Consistency keeps you moving. Discipline is the spark. Consistency is the fire that never goes out. If you commit to consistency for 90 days, your discipline grows stronger, your confidence grows deeper, and your results grow larger. Consistency compounds. Small daily progress multiplies into massive transformation. The person you become at the end of 90 days is not the result of one great action, but of countless small ones stacked on top of each other. Ask yourself, what would your life look like if, for 90 days, you refused to break the chain of consistency? What if, instead of starting and stopping, you carried your actions through, every day, without giving up? The truth is, everything would change. Your body would change. Your mind would change. Your confidence would change. Because consistency is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Without it, you remain stuck. With it, nothing can stop you. Consistency does not demand perfection. It demands persistence. It demands showing up no matter how you feel, until showing up becomes natural. And when it does, momentum takes over. Success becomes not just possible, but inevitable. 90 days of consistency is not only enough to change your habits, it is enough to change your life. Momentum is the reward of consistency. At first, progress feels slow, almost invisible, as though nothing is changing. But then something powerful happens. The weight of effort begins to shift, and what once felt heavy becomes lighter. Momentum is the invisible force that carries you forward, amplifying your actions, multiplying your results, and making the hard things easier over time. It is the point when discipline transforms into desire, when effort transforms into energy, when showing up no longer feels like a battle but like a natural flow. Momentum is not built by intensity alone, it is built by accumulation, by stacking day upon day of consistent action. Each choice adds to your momentum like drops filling a river. On the first day, the water barely moves. By the 30th day, it begins to flow. By the 60th day, the current is strong. By the 90th day, it is unstoppable. This is why so many people give up too soon. They quit before the current takes hold, before momentum can do the heavy lifting for them. They never stay long enough to feel the shift. But if you do, if you endure those early days of resistance, momentum will carry you farther than motivation ever could. Psychologists call this the power of self-reinforcement. Each time you act, you create proof for your brain that you are capable, that you are committed, that you are changing. This proof builds confidence. Confidence fuels action. Action creates results. Results create more confidence. This loop becomes a cycle of growth, and momentum is the engine driving it forward. Momentum takes what was once effortful and makes it automatic. It reduces friction. It silences hesitation. It replaces the constant question of can I do this, with the powerful certainty of I'm already doing this. But momentum is fragile in the beginning. It can be lost if you allow excuses to take control, if you break your own promises too often, if you forget why you started. This is why the first phase of change requires grit. You must push through the resistance long enough for momentum to ignite. Once it does, it becomes easier. It feels lighter, smoother, faster. The steps that once required discipline now feel natural, and the effort that once drained you now fuels you. Momentum turns your struggle into strength. Imagine yourself 90 days from now, carried by momentum instead of dragged by resistance. Imagine waking up and knowing you no longer need to force yourself to act because the current is already pulling you forward. That is the gift of staying the course. That is the reward for refusing to quit when it was hardest. The very same actions that once felt like sacrifice now feel like freedom, because momentum frees you from the weight of starting over again and again. It carries you, amplifies you, and lifts you beyond the level where most people stop. This is why momentum is sacred. Protect it, feed it, guard it with your decisions. Each time you choose consistency, you add fuel to its fire. Each time you let excuses win, you drain its power. But if you keep building, if you keep stacking effort upon effort, you will reach a point where nothing can stop you. 90 days of momentum will not only transform your life, it will make that transformation self-sustaining, a force that carries you long after the 90 days are complete. Momentum thrives when it is protected by structure. Without structure, momentum leaks away, scattered by distractions, pulled apart by competing demands, drained by the noise of daily life. Structure is not about rigidity, it is about clarity. It is about creating an environment where your energy is directed instead of wasted, where your focus is sharp instead of scattered, where your actions are aligned instead of random. Structure is the container that holds your momentum, preventing it from slipping through the cracks. The human brain craves predictability. When your days are chaotic, your mind burns energy trying to figure out what to do next. Decision fatigue creeps in, and with every small choice, what to eat, when to work, how to spend your time, you weaken your ability to make the choices that matter most. But when you build structure, you remove that friction. You create patterns, routines, and systems that conserve your energy for what truly matters. A structured life does not trap you, it frees you. It removes the noise, reduces the wasted effort, and ensures that your focus is directed toward your highest priorities. Structure is the discipline of setting boundaries. It is deciding what you will no longer tolerate, what you will no longer allow to invade your focus, what you will no longer accept as part of your reality. Without boundaries, momentum is fragile. With boundaries, momentum becomes unstoppable. Boundaries protect your time, your energy, and your growth. They remind you that every yes is also a no to something else, and if you do not choose carefully, you will trade your potential for distractions that add nothing to your life. Psychologists call this implementation intention, the act of creating clear, specific plans for your actions. When you decide not just what you want, but when and how you will act, you multiply your chances of success. I will exercise becomes, I will exercise at 7 a.m. for 30 minutes. I will eat better becomes, I will prepare healthy meals every Sunday evening. This level of structure removes ambiguity and locks your actions into place. It shifts success from a possibility to a near certainty. Structure transforms vague desires into concrete commitments, and those commitments are the scaffolding of transformation. But structure is more than schedules and routines. It is also the mental architecture you build to sustain your growth. It is the discipline of guarding your focus, the choice to stop indulging in distractions, the refusal to live in reaction to the demands of others. Structure is saying no when it feels uncomfortable, because you know that every no to distraction is a yes to progress. It is cutting off the noise, silencing the chaos, and creating space for momentum to expand. Imagine living with structure so strong that your environment itself pushes you toward success. Imagine your mornings already designed to fuel you, your evenings built to restore you, your days engineered to keep you aligned with your vision. That is the power of structure. It shifts success from an act of willpower to an inevitable outcome. With structure, you no longer rely on fleeting motivation. You rely on systems, and systems do not fail when emotions fluctuate. Systems endure. 90 days of momentum wrapped inside a strong structure creates transformation that cannot be undone. It builds a life where progress is not something you chase, but something that flows naturally. The structure you design today becomes the foundation that carries you tomorrow, ensuring that the work you've started does not collapse under pressure, but continues to expand, grow, and strengthen until it reshapes every part of your life.